This is the 2021 Mazda CX-5 Signature, Mazda's stylish and fun to drive small SUV. The important part of the name is that word signature, because remember, Mazda is trying to move the entire brand up market. So the question becomes, does the CX-5 Signature have the chops necessary to compete with small luxury SUVs? Let's find out. Before Mazda released the CX-5, there really wasn't a good reason to buy a small SUV. I mean, they didn't offer any utility and they were bad to drive. The CX-5 changed all that because it was the first small SUV that was fun to drive. It did have a problem, and that was it never had much of an engine. However, Mazda has now rectified that with the new turbo motor. However, the CX-5 has a new problem, and that's it has to compete in an incredibly crowded and mature segment. This thing has to go up against giants like the Toyota RAV4, the Honda CR-V, and the Ford Escape. So why would you choose the Mazda? Let's start with design. I don't think there's any question that the Mazda CX-5 is a great looking small SUV. I love the grille, I love the bright work on this thing. I actually really do love how the headlights are kind of tucked under the hood and the hood's protruding out. It's a little bit sinister. Coming down the side, I'm struck as always by the quality of paint Mazda uses. Their red is among the best in the business. I'm equally struck by how these wheels and tires look. They're not good looking tires. The wheels are kind of generic and they're pushed in, they're not popped out as much as they could be, and it doesn't make the vehicle look as muscular as it could and should look. Coming down the side, it just reads like just a pure SUV covered in nice paint. When you get to the back, I mean, it's a Mazda SUV. Remember, with the CX-5, it is the face that is selling the vehicle. Inside the Mazda CX-5 Signature, they've done a good job. Remember, the Signature is the top spec, and what they want to do is they want to poach potential customers away from inexpensive Audis and BMWs and Mercedes-Benz. And just looking around the cabin, yeah, they did it. There's leather and metal and wood covering everything. If you look real close, you'll notice that's not leather, that's not metal, that's probably wood, but don't look too close. If you look at what the entry-level Mercedes and Audis and all those are, this CX-5 does a better job of being a luxury interior than the competition's doing. So, hats off to Mazda for that. As far as technology goes, again, this is the top spec. It's going to have, every feature. It's going to be loaded. Same old Mazda story when it comes to the nav screen here. Looks like a touchscreen. It's not a touchscreen. It's all controlled via this old school rotary dial. And besides, everybody's using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto anyways. As far as space goes, I'm pretty comfy. It's not the biggest SUV in the world, but it's not supposed to be. Backseat, great if you're a kid, a little snug if you're an adult. When the seats are down, there's plenty of room to haul cargo around. If we keep Mazda's mission in mind, they want to move the whole brand to this new premium place. They've done a really good job here. If you're looking for a small SUV, there aren't any that drive better. One of the problems that the CX-5 had when it first launched was there wasn't a lot of horsepower. They've sort of fixed that with the base engine. It's a 2.5 liter inline-4, 187 horsepower, 186 pound-feet of torque with a 6-speed automatic and front-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is an option. This is the CX-5 Signature, and the turbo motor is standard. With that motor, if you put regular gasoline in it, you get 227 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. However, if you behave like an adult and put premium gas into your premium engine, you get 250 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. And of course, all-wheel drive is standard. Yes, if you go for the Signature, you're not going to have the fuel economy that you would get with the front-wheel drive non-turbo version, but having all that power and traction makes this thing that much more fun to drive. As far as safety goes, this is a safe SUV. It has a 5-star crash rating, and the IIHS calls it a top safety pick plus. Should you opt for a higher trim level, such as the Signature, you get even more safety features. For instance, this thing has automatic emergency rear braking. That means if you're about to back up into something, it'll stop the car. As far as pricing goes, there's a wide spread of CX-5 prices. You can get into one for as little as just a bit over $26,000. The Signature to my right, $38,500. Now that price is high, and it's perhaps a bit higher than fully loaded direct competitors, but remember what Mazda's trying to do, right? They want to poach customers away from Audi and BMW and Mercedes-Benz. And when you start to look at entry-level GLA and Q3 and little BMW SUV prices, suddenly the CX-5 Signature makes a lot of sense, especially when you consider the power and performance it comes with. If there's one thing I want you to take away about the CX-5 Signature, it's this. If you're in the market for a small German SUV, you really ought to consider this Mazda. It's got the style, it's got a nice interior, the price is competitive, and it has the performance to satisfy real driving enthusiasts. Putting my own cards on the table, I convinced my mother-in-law to buy a CX-5. I wish she would step up to a turbo like this, although getting her to pay for premium gas might be tricky. But the point is, if you're in the market for a small SUV, you're not going to do much better than this. To see vehicle rankings and a complete buyer's guide, please visit motortrend.com/cars.